First of all, I want to thank RGC for giving me this opportunity to share my limited experience for the IDS grant proposal process. And I've joined Hang Seng University since January this year, so this is very new to me. And my proposal title is Establishing a Research Infrastructure for ESG Intelligence, a multi-stakeholder perspective. So my purpose here for the 12 minutes will be sharing with you my understanding of how to improve your chance of successful IDS proposal. And the first slide I want to show with the audience is the key presentation areas that I used to prepare for my written proposal and then for the presentation interview. And of course, we have to have an objective. And the objective is to actually tie to the proposal of establishing a research center on ESG and business sustainability. And for people that do not understand or heard of ESG, it stands for environmental, social, and governance. And impact, of course, we talk about the impact in terms of the requirement, how to make an impact on academic research, on industry, knowledge transfer, and even in my proposal, we try to include the students' teaching and learning as one of the impact. And in the requirement of the IDS guideline, I think that the mentioning of synergistic effects among all the other existing center will be relevant and also important. So that it's not just a standalone project, but also it will induce and maintain a stronger, wider impact within the university, or hopefully also to the society. And of course, a good rationale about why this is important, have impact is important. And for the implementation, I put down some organizational chart and some team members. And eventually the deliverables, of course, have to be explicitly mentioned in terms of what kind, how many events, what type of output that we expect to deliver. Now, it's a little bit sharing about the topic, how I think it's important to choose the right topic in the preparation of the proposal that with some experience that I had. First, because of my background, previous university, I have already established some understanding on the ESG and green finance. So I use that experience and knowledge to pick a topic I believe that is impactful to the society in terms of the academic and industry. And second, I think the credential of the team, especially the team leader, must be relevant. So therefore, in the proposal, I try to emphasize on what type of past experience and successful record in terms of funding, research, writing chapter books, running conferences, workshops. All the relevant experience are documented in the proposal with the other team members, because the IDS proposal I wrote basically have 4 separate research components. There are other team lead, area lead of the research, which also has to mention in terms of their expertise and relevance. I think it's very important, no matter what type of proposal, a reasonable budget must be stated. When I say reasonable, I think in Hong Kong culture, you have to make sure that money well spent. So therefore, I have to make sure that when I put down the proposal of buying data, I already negotiate the potential vendor for the commercial data, that they will give a deep discount to show the enthusiasm and the cooperation from the business community. Are also invited quite a lot of business experts to join each research component as the external advisor to give industry wisdom. So with that, some of them will have a cost, some of them have no cost, but the budget will explain all these items in terms of how we're going to spend the money. It's government money. So therefore, it's to be very carefully handled. I have also some sharing with the questions I think we will expect the panel and the evaluation will engage in. So of course, we have to explain why the topic is important, provide justification why the topic is good for us to do, and also the team leaders competent compared with the other non-UGC and other UGC university team. I remember in the interview process that I think one panel member asked the question, why we think the HSU can do this project, which will stand out compared to other existing UGC funded or non-UGC funded university. I think it's a very fair comment. So I try to point out why the unique approach that we took and why the team should have the unique edge that we can actually do a good job relative to other universities in Hong Kong. I think that is something you should prepare if you come to the interview stage and put together external advice, as I mentioned. Justification for budget, I already mentioned that already. So the last reminder I have is in my presentation with the interview, actually I put down quite a lot of slides in the appendix because I anticipate certain questions that the panel will be interested. With the 12 to 13 minutes allocated for the interview presentation, it may not be able to complete all the presentation material that I want to do. So therefore, in that regard, I put down some possible questions that you may ask in the panel, and I prepared the relevant data and the answer in the appendix. So actually, it happens. I think one or two questions I prepared actually came out in the panel question and answer time. So I was able to show the slides quickly to show that first, we are well prepared, and second, we also have the answer for them. That's pretty much conclude my presentation. I hope I do okay with time. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Cheng. We'll now have a short Q&A section on the presentation by Professor Cheng. The question is that it is noted that your IDS project is a large project with 4 research components, which are led by different team coordinators and involve various team members and external advisors. As the team leader, what is the most challenging part in managing such a huge project?
Thank you for the question. I think I had some previous experience and relationship with the external advisors through other projects. I think maintaining a good relationship with your external advisors so that when you call for their help, they're willing to give you their name, approval for the company to put their name down without too much details. That is very important. So preparation in advance is important. The second thing is I believe that the in-house university team also are important. As I mentioned to the audience a bit earlier, I joined Hang Seng University in January 2021. So therefore, hardly know anybody at the university to call for the 4 different areas, which including the citizen sciences and communication school and within the business school. So I believe that the team support, even at the university level, the president, the vice president have been very supportive for the dean also have been very supportive for finding the right person for me. So in that regard, I believe that it's a team effort.
Thank you, Professor Cheng. We have another question from a participant from the Caritas Institute of Higher Education.
So I'm representing CIHE, Caritas Institute of Higher Education. Thank you for your presentation. My question is actually directed towards the evaluation panel that you were actually mentioning about and how that had to be aligned to the budget and the justification. So can you share with us the kind of evaluation plan that your team actually constructed in order to match the kind of budget that you were requesting for? Thank you.
Well, I'll try my best to give you my best shot. I think I was told that there's no official upper limit. We were asking for about $6 million. So therefore, that's already, as I mentioned, I did a lot of homework and negotiate with the vendor and also to talk to colleagues about the right budget for the research assistant. And after the panel have decided that we got a chance, and eventually they also have to ask the question, well, this is still a large sum of money of several $1 million. So if you have to cut, where will be the place? So that was the question I expected, because normally the panel want to make sure that the money is being used efficiently. So in that regard, I also have prepared some potential area that we can actually downsize a little bit further. And that actually requires some calculation of different scenarios, what we can do. I'm not sure I answered your question, but this is what I can say. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Professor Cheng.